Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram. So we're going to continue on with some fingering mantras today. There we go. Das Pahira Half, just regular laya jati here, nothing special. Also some, there's not really any changes in bold jatis or anything like that. Pretty straightforward, just mostly focusing on your finger strength, naks, what a ni is, di, ni, thini, keeping these closed, how to come from the nak. A lot of people are playing naks and then like open, so like everything's kind of open. And when you do that, you lose a lot of the balance as well. So I'm realizing that the more that you focus on the hits, the tall, what parts are closed, what parts are open, you start to find this balance, and you realize that you can really push your kirtan a little too quickly when you don't have the right balance, and especially if you're not closing the hits that are supposed to be closed, because you breeze over them a little too quickly when they're open, and you speed up the tall and the kirtan and kind of break things a little bit. Drumming should be like everything's very methodical, very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, boom, 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 boom. So everything's very regimented, and these fingering mantras and practices and everything are meant to try to bring that into a proper framework, so that when you're playing kirtan, everything's kind of at the same speed and played correctly, and the right, opens and closed and stuff like that. None of this information's really ever been given, at least not from the teachers I've had. Bhima Karma was definitely the best resource for kind of cluing in to a lot of these particular ideas and concepts, but a lot of other teachers, they don't really consider these things, and you're left wondering what's open, what's closed, especially when you get into fingering. I was left kind of baffled by Dhak-guruguru's teaching, because there was no concept of like, is the knee closed, is it open, is it 3 fingers open, closed? So a lot of these things were very difficult. So we're just working through these now. So we've got, we looked at the dhinis last time, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. Now we're going to show you a different way of doing this, where you're going to reverse it. So we were only going dhinidhini, like nak-dhini, 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 nak-dhini. And then we were going nak-dhini, dhini, dhini, nak-dhini, dhini, dhini, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. So we're only going this way, right? Dhini, dhini, dhini. But there's a different version that you can do. And this is ge, open, getini, getininak, getininak. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Getininak, getininak, getininak. The T is closed, ni is closed. Nak is also closed, technically. So only have open on the bottom here. But a lot of people will play like this. Like they'll have this ta always open. Sounds kind of cool, but it's not correct, and there's way too many things that are open. And again, it disrupts the kirtan, because you're supposed to be chanting Hare Krishna and hearing the holy name. So the mridanga is not supposed to be this loud, obnoxious, always open, always loud, ear-piercing kind of instrument. Especially when you're playing more bhajan style, more fingering, it's supposed to be a little bit more sweet, a little bit more quiet. Things should be closed when they're supposed to be closed. There's not a lot of things that are actually open on the top end in the bhajan fingering kirtan. So, nak-dhini, 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 nak-dhini. So this is the first mantra. The nak, you see it holds for 2 spaces there. Nak-dhini, nak-dhini. This could be nakadhini, 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 nakadhini. We'll learn this later. Right now we're just doing nak space, but that space can be naka, naka, nakadhini, 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 nakadhini. See the difference? Nakadhini, 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 nakadhini. So there we've got nak-dhini, 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 nakadhini, 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 nakadhini. So you can practice that as well. Nakadhini, nakadhini, nakadhini. And the first one's just nak-dhini, nakdhini. Second part, getiininak, getiininak, getiininak. You see how everything's coming from the wrist. Getiininak. The fingers are not, there's no impetus coming from these knuckles here. You're not playing from these. It's all coming from the elbow, from the wrist. See this? All you need to do is curl those fingers, keep those pads tight to the mridanga, and don't let them open up and make a slappy kind of open sound. And work on getting that nak. So let's look at this closely. Getiininak. And this movement comes from this practicing. Right? Because that ge is an open hit, but you're playing with your fingers, so you're rotating the wrist open to get that power coming down to the knee. See? You'll have no power if you don't open up a little bit on that empty hit for the ge. So the first part we have nak-dhini, 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 getiininak, 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 getininak. And then to segue from the guru to the lagu, you have another nak. So 2 naks in a row. So this practice is doing the nak twice here as well, which happens in certain mantras. Nak-dhini, 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 getininak, 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 nakthini. Ketininak, 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 nakthini. Ketininak, 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 nakthininak, thininak, thininak, thini, ketininak, ketininak, nakthini. See how that segues so that you gotta get that double nak each time. So you're going ketininak, nakthini, nak. See? Ketininak, nakthini. Double nak. Ketininak, nakthini. And that's a tough technique to learn, to be able to do 2 naks in a row there. It's not easy. Very special kind of technique there that should be worked on. So let's go over this again. Nak-dhini, 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 nakthini. Getiininak, 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 getininak, nakthini. Thininak, thininak, thini, getininak, 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 nakthini. Getininak, 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 nakthini, 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 getininak, 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 So that's how that's played. I definitely, recommend practicing this quite a bit. I'm making it look easier than it is. The switching between the double naks and the getinaks and the nakdhinis is pretty complicated, especially getting the getinak, reversing it, and then having the double nak there. You'll find that it's quite hard to keep the balance and the lie, kind of steady there. The pace of the mantra should be even. So try to find the balance and practice that nakadhini as well. Nakadhini, 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 nakdhini, nakdhini. just practice that. Nak-dhini, 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 nakgedhini, Nakathini as well. Speed up your top hand. Lots of different things you can do with that. I'll put that in the description of the video there. Try to remember. So this one's even harder. The other one's hard, but this one takes it to the next level because we're flipping and reversing in a much quicker time speed. So here we're going nak-dhini, getiininak, getininak, nak-dhini, so we're going nak-dhini, so we're coming down and then immediately reversing and then going back to a nak-dhini. So let's see how this nak-dhini, 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 getiininak, double nak-dhini. So we're combining everything that was difficult in the last mantra and breaking it down so that it's a show. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we only have 8 mantras here now instead of 16, and we've just made it to really focus on practicing the difficult sections here, and you can kind of master them. So we're going to nak-dhini, which is the first part, the getiininak immediately after, and then straight into the double nak and the dhini again. Nak-dhini, getiininak, getininak, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. Getininak, getininak, nak-dhini, getininak, getininak, nak-dhini, nak-dhini, getininak. Now you see this here, this is very important. Nak-dhini, getiininak. See this transition? Nak-dhini, nak-dhini, getininak. Nak-dhini, getini. So this is teaching you to stick these 3 fingers too, which I found almost impossible for a long time. The 3 fingers are closed. They're always closed. They should be a nice closed sound. And you have to learn. So like, there's a lot of mantras where you're ending on these 3 fingers, and if you're not confident on sticking them, you're going to lose again the balance of your laya, and you're going to kind of speed up the kirtan or miss that last beat and come in too early. So this is really good for practicing your naks and your dhinis and your fingering and sticking these 3 fingers here. Very, very important. So look at this transition. Nak-dhini, ge, and then you have to go into that open hit while you're on the 3 fingers. Nak-dhini, getininak, nak-dhini, getininak. See this wrist movement? Nak-dhini, if you just like stick it there, there's no way of coming into the dhini, or the geti, sorry. Nak-dhini, so if I just go nak-dhini, get, what, like this? Getini. See, you can't play with your fingers like that. You have to rotate the wrist for this open hit in order to regenerate the motion and energy in your kirtan. Everything in mridanga is about momentum, and you're using that power of the wrist and the flesh of your hand to propel it and create speeds in different directions. Nak-dhini, getini. So you have to play the open hit. Nak-dhini, getini, nak-dhini, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. So nak-dhini, getini, nak-dhini, nak-dhini, see that? Stick those 3 fingers. Nak-dhini, getininak, getininak, nak-dhini, nak-dhini, getininak, getininak, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. Stick the 3 fingers. Nak-dhini, getininak, getininak, nak-dhini, nak-dhini. You want to become very powerful in these mantras. So we've got that. That's all done. Okay, so we'll start looking at a new mantra here. So here we're going for very slow kirtan, Bara. You know, you're stretching the kirtan basically like a half speed mantra here. And when you have half speed mantras, you use a lot of gurugurus to fill the spaces. So this one we're going de 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 da da, de 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 da da, de 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 da da, de 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 da da. So we're going with a nak, dhak, ge and nak together, space, but we're not having a space here. I'm going to write it. You can either have space, so you can go nak, so you can take that space and just play a gurugur, or you can play two gurugurus or even three, but usually two will fit best. You go da, nak, da, da, nak, da, da, two, nak, da, 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 da. See, there's two, and you still leave that little space so that you're not, you know, going. You want it to be compressed a little bit, right? So dhak, leave half of the half space there, so there's one space out of four. So cut that again. So take like an eighth note space. So dhak, eighth note, and then compress the two gurugurus in there, and then move on to the rest of the mantra. So it sounds like this. Dhakguruguru da da. Dhakguruguru da. See that little pause? Dhakguruguru da. We pause on the nak just a little bit and then compress the two gurugurus. Dhakguruguru da da. Index finger. Dhakguruguru da da. So when you're playing this, you're usually playing like really slow, like Hare Krishna. See that? Hare Krishna. And if you want, don't play a pause. When it's slower, play three gurus if you want. If you're proficient and have learned this technique of your gurus. Then you can put three in there too if you want. Really, really slow, and put four in, as many as is required. Here we're just going to do two with a little bit of an eighth note gap. So it goes da, 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 ta, 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 both with one finger. This is all fingering mantras. Da, 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 ni, dak, ni, dak, ni, dak, ni, dak, and keep everything closed there. The knee is closed. Ni, dak, ni, all closed. Nidhakdhini. So let's just practice that. Nidhakdhini. 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 So practice keeping that closed. Then again, same thing. So you got that twice. Then there's a different version of the fingering mantra here. There's no, let's see, there's a couple dreges that are thrown in. You don't need to play the dreges with these types of mantras. You can have dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini. Instead of the dreges, they can become dhinis as well. So any dhini can become a drege. But in this, we'll keep the drege. You'll see later when we play faster, we'll drop the dreges and just switch to a different version with just the dhinis. But dreges are optional. See that? Let me see here. That's the next mantra I'm reading because that's supposed to be in double speed. Yeah, sorry, we're here. So we've got dhakguruguruguru, dhakdhinidhi, dhakguruguruguru, dhakdhinidhi, dhakguruguruguru, this is the first one. So we'll see how this is played slow. Hare Krishna. So that's the guru and the lagu. We'll put that in the description for you there. Lagus is the same. Nak, thata, ni, dhakdhini, thata, ni, nakthini, thata, ni, nakthini, dhakdhinidhi, thata, ni, dhakdhini, thata, ni, nakthini, thata, ni, dhakdhini, So we'll do this once more. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's 3. See that? Krishna, So that is how that one is used. I'll write that out as well in the description for you. So the next version of this then goes dhakguruguru dhata, same thing, nidhakdhini, dhakguruguru dhata, nidhakdhini. And then this dhakdhinidhi, nidhakdhini switches into a double speed mantra here for a little bit more interest. This goes dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini, dhinidhakdhi, nidhakdhi, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini. So let's read that again. Dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini, dhinidhakdhi, dhinidhakdhi, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini. So let's see how this just looks on the top end here. So we have dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini, dhinidhakdhi, dhakdrege, dhinidhakdhi, dhakdrege, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini. Let me see here. Dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini, dhinidhakdhi. And this da is actually, sorry, you can play not there, but this here, so dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhini, dhinidhakdhi, dhakdrege, dhinidhakdhi, dhakdrege. Oh yeah, I guess that should be a nak there, so I've got it written wrong here. Let me just put that in there. Yeah, I thought that was it. Yeah, so I was right. Okay. So dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhak. That's a nak. Dhakdrege, dhini, dhakdhini, dhakdrege, dhakdhini, dhini. Dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhakdrege, dhini, dhakdhini, dhakdrege, dhakdhini, 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 feel if you keep those all balanced and you keep them closed, you're gonna feel it's like a machine just driving. That's what they call this rela, this, train driving motion forward, It needs to have a perfect balance. Every hit has to have the same portion of time, and it should just feel very regimented, very portioned out perfectly. Dhak-dhini, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhinidhi, dhakdhinidhi. Very nice, Keep those hits nice and close, and they're gonna balance your mantras so that everything moves nicely. So let's have a look at this then. So you're gonna start dhata, nidhakdhini, dhata, nidhakdhini, dhakdhinidhi, and then you're gonna go So this just switching between single speed and double speed works really great up until the kirtan is too quick. So it's best when it's in half speed, when the kirtan is quite slow and you have that ability to really transition nicely into the double speed part. So I'll show how this works with chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So it's a nice mantra. You want to really practice getting this double speed part. And you want to be able to get onto that nak nicely and hear it before the drege. You want to hear that nak every time. You're gonna find it almost impossible to get to the nak and then do the drege, but you want to come up to that quality of playing where you're able to hear that nak and then segue into the drege. A lot of people cheat and try to use like a ta, or they'll just use the four fingers. Playing the nak is just so beautiful for the bhajan portion of this, And then so you can practice as well, taking the dreges out just for fun. So this is dhakdhinidhi, so that's without the dreges. So dhakdhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, 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 dhini, dhakdhini, dhini, dhakdhini, dhakdhini, so I don't know why I just played that, but anyways, practice this, and we'll show the other parts of this mantra next time, and then move into yeah, a whole bunch of more interesting stuff. Lots of stuff to come up. Okay, Hare Krishna.